you use?
Spoilers.
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 Spoilers. Spoilers. Spoilers. I like that word.
I thought you might.
Hello everyone and welcome to another Fan Theories. Obviously, as you can see behind me, I have a bit of a new setup. This is only temporary, it's just to give a bit of a backdrop to my videos whilst I'm currently still moving things around. But for today's Fan Theory, we'll be discussing how the name Tardis and its origins are constantly debated by fans. Did Susan invent it as she claims, or was it already known on Gallifrey? Well, I've looked over all of the available evidence and my conclusion is no, Susan did not invent the name. In the first episode of An Unearthly Child, Susan claims, "I made up Tardis from the initials, time and relative dimension in space." This actually became the subject of a Tumblr post that has made its way around the internet in recent years. However, as is often the case with Tumblr, what is shown is incorrect. The subtitles on that particular set of pictures are not what is actually said. The actual line spoken is,
"Well, I made up the name Tardis from the initials, time and relative dimension in space."
although the pilot line is,
I made up Tardis from the initials, time and relative dimension in space.
However, this in itself presents a bit of a mystery because the way that Susan says it, or at least the way I interpreted it, she implies that the ship's full name is time and relative dimension in space, and she made up the name TARDIS from the initials of that. As time and relative dimension, or dimensions in space, is mentioned again throughout the series several times as to what TARDIS stands for, it makes sense along with the CIA, the Celestial Intervention Agency, or other well-known real-world organisations. Time and relative dimension in space is actually the full name of the organised concept of the time travel machine, with TARDIS being its shortened term. But all of this still doesn't answer the question as to whether Susan invented the name or not. Or does it? During the series, other Time Lords and people on Gallifrey referred to TARDISes as TT capsules. However, this was later seemingly retconned when other Time Lords seemed to be perfectly aware of the name TARDIS as a name for the travel machines, and even others, such as the Sisterhood of Khan, were well aware of the acronym. There are also other varying accounts in the series of other peoples and races being aware or not aware of the acronym TARDIS. And those who are aware of it will have seemingly never have met Susan, so they must have found out the name in some other way. However, for me, the most compelling evidence has actually come as lately as name of the Doctor. At the very beginning of the episode, which is set before An Unearthly Child, right before the point the Doctor tries to steal a TARDIS, one of two Gallifreyan technicians says the line,
"What kind of idiot would try and steal a faulty TARDIS?"
Now, whilst some may argue there is an incredibly slim chance that this technician will have talked to Susan before the episode, to me, this seems to be conclusive proof that the name TARDIS was well known on Gallifrey before Susan claimed to have come up with it. Much of this is further backed up by the Big Finish audio story The Beginning, which seems to follow the continuity of Name of the Doctor. In this story, Susan seemingly comes up with the name TARDIS, although the Doctor is already familiar with it.
"Good old TARDIS," I said in the gloom. "Oh, so you know that name too, do you?" "Don't be silly, Grandfather, I just made it up. The TARDIS, that's its name." He sighed. "Of course it was," he told me gently.
And there is also a small scene where Susan hears the Doctor talking to somebody before he hastily pulls her out of one TARDIS and pushes her into another. So it does seem that Susan was not the one to come up with the name TARDIS. However, the exact reasons as to why she decided to claim she came up with it are still very much a mystery. Perhaps it was nothing more than the whim of a child trying to impress her 20th century peers. And that brings to a close another Fan Theories. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, favourite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot. And be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. There is an exclusive webcomic and rewards to people who support it, and the funding generated by my Patreon helps me fund future videos. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon. So obviously, as you can see, I have a bit more of a setup behind me. Again, this is only temporary, but it gives a bit of a blah blah.